Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ruby Lessons on Codecademy. So last time we finished off quite a complicated project. Actually, it was really interesting to do. If you missed it out, I would highly recommend watching the last two videos we did. We discovered quite a few new things we could do, and it's especially useful for databases because that's how database programs work and how they organize data in the database. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, no spoilers. Moving on to today. We're going to be starting a new section. It is called the Zen of Ruby, and we're going to be looking at why Ruby can be sometimes good in this current section anyway. So as a language, Ruby prioritizes programmer productivity over program optimization. So this means that Ruby may not always run a program in the fastest way possible, but it strives to be a language that programmers like us find easy to use and fun to use. The more intuitive a language's syntax is, the more productive its user can be. You're in control, not the machine. I have a few comments to make. So sometimes efficiency isn't that important because, especially in small programs, efficiency isn't that important. Today's computers are really strong and they don't really care about like 1 megabyte or 1 kilobyte of memory that much, maybe. In the past, sure, optimization would have been very important. Today, maybe not as much as in the past. But sometimes you do really want to be more efficient because you want to do something faster, or if you have a massive program, a massive game project, then efficiency can be very important. So you really sometimes need to balance whether you're using Ruby or C++ or C#. I know C++ and C# aren't as easy as Ruby, but that's why they can be more efficient. It really depends sometimes, and it also depends on how you write the program, how efficient you're making it. So for example, if you're doing something 5 times and you're actually doing it 5 times instead of writing a method, then you should know that that's a really inefficient way of doing it. Why not just write a method that would be much more efficient and much more readable for the user? But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. And check out the code in the editor. It looks almost like English, doesn't it? But a programming language that looks like English can be very useful because of things like this, especially if you're just starting off into programming. A language like Ruby or Python, I would highly recommend because of things like this. They're really easy to understand and read. So Ruby is eloquent? True. Anybody can understand that. Ruby is ugly? Equals false. Anybody can understand that. Puts, well, you might not be able to understand that, but I guess it can be quite easy to figure out. Ruby is eloquent if Ruby is eloquent. So, do this if this. Quite easy to understand. Same here. I'm pretty sure that this is just going to print that and that. So, if it isn't, then if Ruby is ugly, then it wouldn't print this. But because it isn't, it is going to print it. There we go. And we earned a badge for some reason, that was weird. But okay, moving on. A simpler if. You've seen the Ruby if statement before. So if condition do something end. Or in between you can have an if else, else if, or an else and then the end. But yeah, this is the basic form. If the do something is a short, simple expression, however, we can move it up into a single line, as you saw in the last exercise. The syntax looks like this. So expression, what you want to do this, if boolean. The boolean can be if A equals B, if C greater than 1000, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. It can be even if true, but that wouldn't really be very useful, but if you want to go there, sure, why not. Ruby will expect an expression followed by if, followed by a boolean. The order is important, and you can do this. Puts, if it's true, so that's the expression. If, that's the if. True, that's the boolean. But not this. If true, puts it's true. You can't do that because we're not writing it in this form. If you wanted to do it like that, then you would need the end, and you would also need to put this in a new line. It's also important to know that you don't need an end when you write your if statement all on one line. So as you can notice, there is no end there, neither is there an end here. Instructions Give it a go. Type a one-line if statement in the editor to the right. It can be whatever you like. Sure, I guess. Puts I am epic if epic. Why not? Epic equals true. Because I am just too lazy to be creative. Moving on. The one line unless. So similar as we have with if, we have the unless statement, which is kind of the opposite. So unless if does something if it's true, unless does something if it's false. You can do the exact same thing with the unless statement. The order is the same as before. Something for Ruby to do, the unless keyword, and then the expression that evaluates the true or false, the boolean. Remember, you don't need an end when you write a one-line if or unless. Instructions: go ahead and type a one-line unless statement in the editor. It can be whatever you like. True name equals false. And I don't know. I'm going to keep it simple. My true. There we go. Unless true name. I know it doesn't really make much sense, but you got the point. Moving on. One good turn deserves a ternary. Okay, let's see what this is all about. During your Ruby adventures, you've seen that you often have many options when it comes to accomplishing any one goal, as we have discussed many times, I'm pretty sure. The if statement is no exception. An even more concise version of the if-else is the ternary conditional expression. It's called ternary because it takes three arguments: a boolean, an expression to evaluate if the boolean is true, and an expression to evaluate if the boolean is false. So we previously also looked at the case, which works similarly to an if statement. Now we're going to be looking at the ternary, apparently. So the syntax looks something like this. We have the boolean, which can be two values being compared. It can be, for example, a equals b, a greater than b, a lesser than b, a greater than or equal to b, and so on and so forth. Boolean question mark, so that's a new thing. Do this is going to be the expression if true. Do this if false. So okay, this expression is going to be done if this boolean evaluates to true, and if the boolean evaluates to false, this is going to be done. So an example might be puts 3 less than 4, and I don't understand why there's a puts there. Oh no, I do, because so it's like having the brackets after the puts. So you have puts, the output of this whole thing. So we are seeing which one of these two is going to be expressed. So let's see. So we're doing puts. The boolean is 3 less than 4. That's going to evaluate to true because 3 is less than 4. Do this if true. 3 is less than 4. That's going to be puts out. If the expression was false, so say it was 3 greater than 4, then this would be puts out. 3 is not less than 4. So yeah, you get the point. If we did actually do this, then what would be printed out is 3 is less than 4, and we would actually see that on the console because of the puts here. So we do puts, this whole thing is basically how it goes. Imagine there were brackets before the 3 and after this quotation mark there. Remember, the order of argument is important, and you don't need an end for this version of if-else. So it's a ternary conditional expression. It takes 3 arguments with an exclamation mark there and a colon there. And before that you can even put puts, because that's apparently a thing, and it's quite useful actually, thinking about it. Instructions: try out the ternary expression in the editor. Feel free to peek at the hint if you need help. So I'm going to do the puts, and just to show what I meant, I am just going to copy this out. Come on. There we go. So doing this is the same as doing this. Is basically what I was saying. There we go. 3 is less than 4, which is correct. So let's move on to the last lesson of today. After I get a drink. Good. When and then. the case statement. The if-else statement is powerful, but we can get bogged down in ifs and else-ifs if we have a lot of conditions to check. Thankfully, Ruby provides us with a concise alternative, the case statement. The syntax looks like this. So we already worked with the case statement in the massive project, which actually took us about half an hour to complete, I believe, over 2 videos, or maybe even more actually. I'm not too sure. That was quite a long project compared to the others, but it was definitely worth it. So we did use the case statement quite a bit actually, because it was the main meat of the code, if you will. And it looks like this. So here, for example, you have case language. You're looking at the variable language. So if language is JS, is basically what this is saying. When language equals JS, or if language equals JS, do this. If language equals Python, do this. If language equals Ruby, do this. Else, well, else is quite self-explanatory. In any other case, do this. But instead of having to write out if this, then that, you just do case language when this. And it can be sometimes more readable. It really depends. But it requires less typing, definitely. But you can fold it up like so as well. So we didn't actually look at this, but let's see. Case language, we're doing the same as previously. When JS then puts websites. So here you're also using the then keyword, and you do a 1-line syntax. So instead of having to use up 2 lines, you can do it in 1 line. I don't think that any efficiency is gained. You can test it out with other methods, but I'm not going to do it right now because it's not that important, as we discussed at the start of this lesson, because it's a small program. If you are using it like 1,000 times, then it might be safer to use one or the other depending on efficiency. But even 1,000 times won't actually change much. So when the user types English, the program should put hello. Okay, so it's telling us to use the case statement. Case, and it is language. Okay, I don't know what that's doing there, but okay. Oh right, it's getting the input. Case language. When English. If I can even spell English, there we go. The program should put hello. Good. Oh, there we go. When French is, yep, French. Then we want to do puts bonjour. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but sorry. I am not French. Nowhere near. When German. I do, however, do a bit of German. Puts Guten Tag. There is actually an what's it called? An uppercase letter, which is correct there. Interesting. The developers know what they're doing. Finnish. I have no idea what the greeting in Finnish is pronounced, so I'm not going to try to say it. And that is not how you spell it. There we go. If I were to pronounce it, I would pronounce it halu, but it's probably incorrect, because that's an English pronunciation, of course. Otherwise, else. If I can even spell else right now. We also need the end there. Puts, I don't know that language. And I'm going to add one of my own languages. There we go. And that's pronounced zdravo. Just saying. Okay. Hello there. Also, we probably want to do all of them lowercase. And then compare them to the input being lowercase. And not all of, what am I doing? Why am I putting an M there? My fault. Okay. M-wrench, French. And I still capitalize them. Okay, let's try that once more. There we go. And greeting dot down case, exclamation mark, good. No, should be fine. And that is not how you spell language either. What am I doing now? Oh, it's supposed to be greeting. When greeting? Is that correct? There we go. It looks like your program doesn't default to printing I don't know that language. Alright, because I added my own language and it wasn't expecting that. Fine. Finish. Okay, it doesn't like Macedonian. Oh well. Finish. Or maybe not. Else, I don't know that language. Alright, it's supposed to do puts. That was my fault. It's not that Codecademy don't like my language. Or maybe... okay, let's see what's wrong. Okay, I'm pretty sure that there is something wrong with Codecademy here. So, if I do something like this, it allows me to move on, as you can see. But, if I enter finish, or, okay, I misspelled it. If I enter finish, it gives me an error. I'm pretty sure that that's down to Codecademy's side. But yeah, if you want to just get out of this, just write something random that isn't on here, and it should be fine. I think that I can even remove my comments now, if I don't write any of my inputs there. Yeah, that's quite weird, but yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. That should be fine. You can move on by just writing anything you want that isn't on your list. So, yeah, I said yeah too many times. Oh well. Moving on. That's all for today's lesson. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask in the comments down below. I will answer them as soon as possible, as always. Other than that, if you enjoyed watching this video, then please give it a like, share and subscribe. It encourages me to make more videos. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.